Today's mindful moment. All right, ready to dive into some serious Shadowhunter drama.
I'm all set.
Okay, so this time we're taking on City of Ashes, the second book in Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instrument series.
Yeah, things get pretty intense in this one.
It's not just about fighting demons anymore. It's about family secrets, forbidden love, and questioning everything you thought you knew.
Exactly. Like, what happens when you find out your dad is basically the Shadowhunter world's Voldemort?
Oof. Yeah, talk about a family crisis.
Poor Jace. That revelation doesn't just mess with his head, it throws his whole adoptive family, the Lightwoods, under suspicion.
Suddenly everyone's questioning his loyalty.
You can't blame him, though, right?
I guess not, but still, that's got to be rough. And then there's that scene where he gets locked up in the Institute's weapons gallery by the Inquisitor.
Oh, yeah, talk about claustrophobic.
I felt like I couldn't breathe just reading it.
It shows how deep-seated the Clave's distrust is for anyone even remotely connected to Valentine.
Makes sense, but it's still pretty harsh.
Totally. But while Jace is dealing with all that, Clary's discovering her own powers. And she's not just following the rules, she's breaking them.
Creating a brand new rune? That's unheard of.
It's groundbreaking. This fearless rune challenges the Clave's control over magic, hinting at Clary's potential to really shake things up.
It makes you wonder, what would happen if anyone could create new runes?
Right. What would that mean for the Clave's authority? Good question.
Okay, but it's not just Shadowhunters dealing with drama.
Oh yeah, the Downworlders are facing some serious prejudice.
For sure. Simon becoming a vampire and Maya's struggles as a werewolf, those really highlight the tension.
Absolutely. The Inquisitor is a perfect example of Shadowhunter elitism. She can barely hide her disdain for Downworlders, especially Simon.
Yeah, that confrontation at the Hunter's Moon was so intense.
The animosity was palpable, like you could cut it with a seraph blade.
So do you think these groups can ever really coexist?
That's the million-dollar question. It's this underlying tension that drives a lot of the plot.
And then there's the Seelie Court.
Talk about a deceptive beauty.
Right. It's like stepping into a fairy tale, but one with a very dark side.
Oh yeah, and the Seelie Queen's mind games? Don't even get me started.
Especially that forced kiss between Clary and Jace. So manipulative.
More than a game, though. It forces them to confront their feelings, and let's not forget Simon's watching the whole thing.
Talk about awkward.
Poor Simon.
Okay, but we can't forget about the mastermind behind all this chaos, Valentine.
His plan to corrupt the Soul Sword is seriously chilling. Using Downworlder children, pure evil.
Kidnapping Simon and Maya for that ritual was brutal.
And Simon rising from the dead, that's a game changer for him.
No kidding. He's literally not the same person anymore. And then Valentine reveals that he has the Soul Sword. Talk about a power move.
The stakes just got a whole lot higher. The Clavey is freaking out. You can see it in everything the Inquisitor does.
Especially her obsession with Jace. She's convinced he's the key to stopping Valentine.
But her methods are so brutal, they're just pushing him further away.
It's like she's blinded by her authority.
Exactly. Speaking of shaking things up, we've got Magnus Bane entering the scene. He brings this much-needed mix of magic and wit to the story.
I love Magnus. He's such a great character.
And his relationship with Alec, talk about forbidden love.
It challenges the very foundation of Shadowhunter society. Alec has to confront his own prejudices, which is something a lot of us can relate to, right?
Absolutely. But then, bam, the Inquisitor drops the bombshell. Jace has been spying on Valentine all along.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's a big one. Suddenly, he's a potential traitor. Talk about a gut punch.
You can feel the tension building. Clary's desperately trying to defend Jace, but the evidence is piling up.
It shows how strong their bond is, but even that's starting to crack under the pressure.
And Isabel? She's furious with Alec for blindly following the Clave.
She's not afraid to call him out, which I love. Meanwhile, Simon's left trying to figure out this whole vampire thing.
Yeah, his attempts to come to terms with his transformation are both hilarious and heartbreaking.
Remember that scene where he tries to use a coming-out pamphlet to break the news to his mom?
Classic Simon. Even in the darkest moments, there's still room for humor.
Exactly. It's what makes these characters so relatable.
But just when you think things can't get any crazier, bam! Maya gets attacked by a demon.
That attack is a major wake-up call. Valentine is still out there, and he's not messing around.
Jace thinks it's a fear demon, Agramon, which would explain the deaths of the Silent Brothers and the Warlock Alliance.
Agramon, that's a greater demon. We're talking serious power and malice here.
This is where it gets real, folks. The stakes are higher than ever.
You can see it in everyone's reactions. They're starting to realize just how dangerous Valentine really is.
And it's Luke who makes the most chilling realization of all.
He figures out that Valentine's real goal is to corrupt the soul sword, using the blood of Downworlder children.
Whoa, that's messed up.
It's beyond messed up. Simon and Maya aren't just victims, they're pawns in this twisted game. And to make matters worse, Valentine also has the mortal cup, which means he can control demons.
So he's basically unstoppable.
Pretty much. It becomes a race against time to stop Valentine before he completes this ritual and, destroys the world.
And then he kidnaps Simon and Maya. He takes them to his ship to finish the ritual.
Talk about a cliffhanger.
It's crazy. Clary, Jace, and their allies have to go on a rescue mission.
They have to overcome their own doubts and fears to save their friends.
And the tension just keeps building.
Oh yeah, that scene where Clary uses her rune powers to create a portal, that was amazing.
So clever.
Pure ingenuity. But Valentine, as always, is one step ahead. He's waiting for them, ready for a fight.
The confrontation on his ship is insane. Betrayal, sacrifices, the whole works.
And then, that ending. Valentine escapes with the soul sword. Simon appears to be dead, and Clary and Jace are left picking up the pieces.
It's a lot to process, but I think we need to take a step back and look at some key moments that might have gotten lost in all the chaos.
It's easy to miss some of the smaller details with so much happening.
Oh, absolutely. Where do we even start?
Well, one thing that really struck me was the parallel between Jace's imprisonment and Clary's captivity.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
They're both trapped, right? Both facing threats, both confronting their fears.
Yeah, but in different ways.
Exactly. Jace is physically imprisoned.
By the Inquisitor, yeah. Held captive by suspicion and all that.
Right. But Clary's imprisonment is more psychological.
Trapped by Valentine's manipulations.
And the weight of their family history.
So they're both grappling with the sins of their fathers, each in their own way.
Yeah, and their reactions are really telling. Jace withdraws, becomes more guarded.
Clary fights back.
Exactly. She refuses to be a pawn. She's going to forge her own path.
Even if it means defying her own father.
That defiance is a big part of her character, shows her strength.
And it highlights the contrast between them.
Yeah.
Jace is more internal, Clary's more outwardly expressive.
Yeah, and those personalities play out in their relationships too, particularly with Simon.
Oh, yeah, that love triangle.
It's not just about romance, though. It's about loyalty, friendship.
Trying to figure out who you are in the middle of all this chaos.
And then you've got the whole Downworlder prejudice thing.
That just adds another layer of tension to everything.
Especially after Simon becomes a vampire.
Right. He's not just Clary's best friend anymore. He's something Shadowhunters are trained to kill.
The Sealy court scene really captures all of that.
Ugh, that scene. So much tension.
That forced kiss isn't just a game. It exposes their desires, makes them face the truth about their feelings.
And Simon just has to stand there and watch.
Talk about awkward.
It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. But Simon's transformation adds another layer of complexity.
He's literally not the same Simon anymore. He's got these powers now, but he's struggling.
Yeah, the bloodlust, the sunlight sensitivity.
He's alienated from his old life, having to redefine who he is.
He's caught between two worlds.
And Clary's going through a transformation, too, magically and emotionally.
Creating that fearless rune was huge for her.
Showed she's not just following in her mom's footsteps, she's making her own way.
And she's more assertive now. You see it in how she interacts with everyone.
She's not that timid girl anymore. She's a Shadowhunter.
But what about the Lightwoods? They've got their own stuff going on.
They really reflect the conflicts of the whole Shadowhunter world.
Like a microcosm of the Clave.
You've got Mary's, torn between the Clave and her kids.
Her past with Valentine makes it hard for her to trust anyone.
And Alex trying to balance his love for Magnus with the Clave's prejudice.
That's something a lot of people can relate to. Trying to be true to yourself, but also to your family.
And Isabel, always so loyal, has to choose sides.
Her helping Jace escape shows where her heart really lies.
It's about having the courage to defy authority when it goes against what you believe in.
But let's get back to Valentine. He's just ruthless.
He's a fanatic. Thinks Shadowhunters are superior, and he'll do anything to prove it.
That scene where he taunts Jace with the soul sword is chilling.
He just sees Jace as a weapon.
But Jace rejects him, chooses his own path.
It's a huge moment for him. He's breaking free from Valentine's control.
But Valentine gets away with the soul sword.
Leaving a trail of destruction in his wake, and then there's Simon.
Sacrificing himself.
And coming back as a vampire. That's a powerful image. Loss of innocence.
Trying to hold on to your humanity and all that darkness.
That's Simon Strong. He's not giving up.
He still loves Clary.
That love gives him hope, but can he really escape the darkness now?
That's the question, isn't it? Okay, but we have to talk about that final battle.
On Valentine's ship, it's pure chaos.
Shadowhunters, demons, the fate of the world hanging in the balance.
The Inquisitor and her forces show up.
Finally.
This shows that the Clave is finally starting to understand the threat, and the Inquisitor actually apologizes to Jason the Lightwoods.
Wow, didn't see that coming.
It's a big moment for her, admitting she was wrong.
But Clary's the one who really shines in that fight.
She stands up to Valentine, doesn't back down.
She even spits blood in his face.
Such a badass move. It shows how much courage she has.
She tries to stop him from corrupting the Soul Sword.
She's willing to risk everything to protect the people she loves.
But Valentine escapes. And Simon's, well, he seems to be dead.
It's a bittersweet victory. They stopped him for now, but the battle's not over.
It feels like just the beginning.
And there are still so many questions.
What happens to Jace now? Will Clary be able to save her mom? Can Simon even handle being a vampire?
It's a lot to think about.
Okay, so Valentine's escaped. Simon's, well, we don't know about Simon. And Clary and Jace are trying to figure out what to do next.
It's a mess, right? Everyone's dealing with the fallout in their own way.
So much trauma.
Jace is especially shaken. I mean, the Inquisitor basically betrayed him.
Yeah, he can't trust the Clave. He doesn't know what to do about Clary.
And their whole relationship is forbidden anyway.
Right. It's like everything's falling apart for him.
So he makes a big decision.
He leaves the Institute.
Yep. Walks away from the only life he's ever known.
That scene with Maurice, when he tells her he doesn't belong there.
Heartbreaking, right?
You can feel the pain in his voice.
Yeah.
He's completely lost.
But in a way, it's a good thing, too. You know, like he's finally realizing that he needs to find his own path.
Okay, so Jace is trying to figure out who he is, and then there's Clary.
She's got her own emotional roller coaster going on.
First the battle, and then she finds out her mom's alive.
Jocelyn, yeah, but she's in a coma.
A magically induced coma.
Yeah.
It's like one thing after another for her.
That scene where she visits Jocelyn in the hospital.
Oh, man. So many tears.
You can feel how desperate Clary is to wake her up.
And then you've got Simon dealing with the whole vampire thing.
He's got a lot on his plate, to say the least.
Lost his humanity, struggling with the bloodlust. Everyone's afraid of him.
Especially Clary.
Yeah, when she sees him after he's turned, it's like she doesn't even recognize him.
It's that classic monster lover dilemma, you know. Can you still love someone who's become something monstrous?
Heavy stuff.
But there are some glimmers of hope, right? Like Simon finding out he can go out in the sunlight.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's not like other vampires. Maybe his transformation is different somehow.
So there's still a chance for him. Maybe.
We can hope. And for Clary, there's a chance that Jocelyn might wake up.
Oh, yeah. Madeline Billfleur. She says she knows how to break the spell.
But can they really trust her?
Good question. Cassandra Clare always keeps you guessing.
That's what makes her book so good. She knows how to weave a story.
Fantasy, romance, suspense. It's all there.
So where do we go from here? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next book.
Jace is on his own now. Clary's searching for answers. Simon's trying to figure out how to be a vampire without, being a monster.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Definitely. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into City of Ashes. If you want more Shadowhunter goodness, head over to our website. We've got tons of stuff there. Articles, fan theories, you name it.
And be sure to check out the next book in the series, City of Glass.
Things are about to get even crazier. So until next time, happy reading.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive,
be sure to subscribe to our channel.
We'll be exploring more amazing books and series.
And don't forget to share this episode.
And leave a comment.